A week ago, Mark Kelly was sworn into the United States Senate. He takes office as the clock is ticking for Congress to deal with this pandemic. We're joined this morning by Senator Kelly. Senator, first of all, I want to congratulate you and say good morning. A lot of business to get to, of course, this morning, talking about COVID and relief packages. Right now, there's that $900 billion compromise proposal, it's being called. It's on the table, but it doesn't seem like there's enough people on both sides that can come together and agree on this. So I want to ask you, Senator Kelly, what your position is on this package and if you think you're going to vote for it or not.
Well, Nick, I do think there are enough people on both sides. I mean, it is a bipartisan and bicameral, so both houses of Congress are working on this. They've been working very hard on it. It looks like there'll be more official language on it today, and it is needed. I mean, Arizona and our country needs relief. Unemployment rates are still high as the benefits are expiring. Folks are really struggling as we go into the holidays here. Small businesses are struggling. Cities and towns need that relief. And I think the Congress can come together to pass something.
Okay, well, that's definitely a good update if you feel like there's enough people on both sides to move this forward, because like you said, Arizonans and Americans alike are suffering. I want to ask you this, though. This has been a sticking point for some people in this proposal. It doesn't have those $1,200 stimulus payments that we saw in the spring with the first aid that went out. So I want to ask you what your position is on that. And if not now to get those payments, is this something that we could see in the future?
Well, I think there's going to be more relief needed in the future. I mean, this is intended to get businesses and folks who are unemployed in cities and towns and schools and hospitals through the next several months. Beyond that, we're going to have to see. I think in making this commitment now and getting these funds out there now is incredibly important, and it's going to mitigate some of the need that's going to be required later. I think at the top of the list is expanded unemployment benefits. We have 440,000 Arizonans who are out of work through no fault of their own and are just trying to, I mean, they're having to make impossible decisions about paying rent and buying groceries and filling a prescription. That relief is so important. So expanded unemployment benefits, I certainly think, is at the top of the list.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we see, and I know this is a statewide legislative issue, but we see Arizona has one of the lowest unemployment payments in the entire country. I want to move on and ask you about a statewide mask mandate and whether you support that or not. And the follow up to that is, you know, from some of the people who don't support it, they argue, well, there's already city mandates and county mandates and people are having issues enforcing those. So how would we go about enforcing that if there were to be a statewide mask mandate?
Well, it's not only about enforcement, Nick. It's also about where does the mandate come from? And I think there are folks out there that maybe they're not going to listen to the mayor when the mayor of their or the leader of their community, local community, says, "Hey, this is a good idea, and you're required to wear a mask." I think if it comes from the governor, it could convince more individuals to wear a mask. Right now, we think about 90% of folks are complying with this. I mean, it's hard to figure out exactly what the numbers are. We need it to be 100%. So I think requiring everybody when they're in public, especially being in public and indoors in larger groups of people to wear a mask, it's a necessary step. It's one of the only, we don't have many tools in the toolbox here to try to bend the curve and decrease the infection rate. That's one that we have, and we know from the science behind this, it works.
All right, Senator, we have about a minute left. I want to ask you about the vaccine. We mentioned the tools that we have at our disposal, and that's something that so many of us have been anticipating since the onset of this pandemic. I want to ask what you're hearing specifically about the vaccine here in Arizona, and you know, if you can give us any inside information. And also, are you worried about access for Arizonans to that vaccine, or do you feel like we will have enough when all is said and done and the vaccine is out?
Well, I've been, speaking to, some of our hospital system, CEOs on this and other public health officials. And it does appear that we're going to start getting doses of the vaccine here this month. And we're going to have a plan to vaccinate healthcare professionals and first responders first, and those in assisted living facilities. So there's going to be a plan as to who gets vaccinated and what that order is, and it's going to be rolled out. The vaccines are going to, start to be distributed here in December. And it's going to take some time. The president-elect has a plan to vaccinate 100 million Americans in the first 100 days. But with a population of 350 million people, 75% of that is a much higher number. And that's where we need to go. So I want to encourage folks, when it's available for you, that you should get vaccinated. The only way we're going to beat this virus, we've got, social distancing, wearing masks, washing our hands, and being vaccinated. And we need 75% of the population to be vaccinated.
Yeah, and if that plan can be carried out with 100 million people vaccinated in the first 100 days, it is a tall order, but it would really be a game changer in this pandemic. Senator Kelly, we're out of time, but I want to thank you so much as always. Always a pleasure to, to talk to you. So thank you so much for being with us this morning. Please keep us posted on anything else that you hear about the vaccine and any other issues pertaining to that aid package that hopefully passes soon in both houses there of Congress. Senator Kelly, thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Nick.
All right.